name is Suranjan. I am working in Intel Post Silicon Power Management Functional Validation Team, which comes under Design Engineering Group. So along with me, there are 4 other co-authors. So this will be I will be covering these topics today basically. So first the introduction and motivation behind this research work. Then few use cases based on that, some power map things, then how hybrid microprocessor are working. Then we have some solution and the performance calculation and the reference. Okay, now so modern all these modern day microprocessors are having the hybrid cores. Hybrid cores means there will be performance core and efficient core, and along with that so shared cache will be there and few other intellectual property blocks will be there, which are IP blocks. Few example I have given here is voltage regulator, memory controller, then cache coordinate fabric or ring. So the type C domain, system element, those are few IP blocks. So each IP will have their own separate digital thermal sensor diodes. So all those DTS diodes will be only few micrometers away from each other. So now we can think of like there could be a particular IP within a module which can be in a higher load, higher workload. So higher workload means more power consumption will be there. So when there will be more power consumption, it will generate more heat. So now what we have observed that due to the close proximity of these IPs, so the power consumption on one IP is basically cross-hitting another IP, adjacent IPs. Basically there will be the thermal interference from one IP to the adjacent IP. So now we have done few experiments. So our experimental data based on Intel SoCs, 4 generations of SoCs we have done the experiment. So it has shown that 30 to 37% temperature hike will be there. I mean on the core which are not running any workload or it is running in light weighted tasks. Our proposal here that will increase the performance of the affected IP in terms of giving the additional thermal rating that could be 11 to 70%. Okay, so this is the floor plan of generic microprocessor, which left side and the right side are having performance core, and these small modules are efficient core. So one module has 4 efficient core and another module has 4 efficient core. These two are the graphics core, which has slice and unslice core. And the die placement will be more or less similar like this. So the motivation comes like so nowadays what happens as a part of thermal throttling or thermal action. So when there will be hot IP, so our thermal control mechanism will directly throttle the voltage or frequency on that particular hot IP. And if that hot IP, reducing the frequency or voltage on the hot IP is not efficient, then it will do the adjacent IP, it will throttle together on the adjacent IP. That means at one shot, common throttling is applying across the IPs. So few other existing solution also proposes like we can just switch the task among the whole cores. So that is not also the correct, because that context switching will take time. So the main the disadvantage what I have already explained, like there is a common throttling currently we are applying, so which will create the performance loss for the IP which is not running any workload or it is an idle a lightweight task. So these use cases actually I will cover here. So these are the power map, means the image has been captured with the infrared thermal camera. So the first picture, the left side, it is an example of the efficient core of this space. So we have 4 cores here. So the 4 cores are projecting maximum temperature like 71, 72 like this, and due to the thermal interference, the in between will be our LLC, last level cache or cache coordinate fabric, all those things, uncore portion basically. So that is having 69 degree temperature, like that due to the interference. The next picture is graphics on this side. So the bottom 2 are my 2 GT cores, graphics cores. When graphics on this tracer, that still it is having the another module, core module is that the thermal interference is happening here. Similarly, the last picture is all together means efficient and graphics code stress together. If we put, it looks like this. Okay. So this is the example of general hybrid microprocessor, how it works. So here we have the DTS. Basically, this DTS module will have ADC and 3 diodes we have shown here. So it basically varies among the design and architecture. So based on that, how many diodes will be there, that will generally designer used to decide. So here I have just, for example, I will show these 3. So all these DTS will have, all these IP modules, memory, core, IPU and DCSS are the IP modules which are having that individual DTS. So it will be connected through the shared bus. So we have another major role here is the power control unit. So what power control unit will do? Power control unit will have its own firmware which will read the temperature from the DTS, and it will calculate the thing like whether I should now talk to the thermal module for the throttling or not. Then it will, based on the criteria, it will talk to the thermal control unit. Thermal control unit, we have 3 different things: frequency monitor, voltage monitor, and temperature monitor. So frequency monitor. So nowadays you know that there is a more common factor is the DVFX, dynamic voltage frequency scale. So those things used to be done by this thermal control unit. So if there is any, the temperature monitor will have some peak threshold kind of thing. So if power control unit understands that some of the DTS value reaches the threshold of that particular temperature zone, then it will talk to the thermal control unit to work upon the voltage and frequency, and sometimes voltage or frequency, like that, based on the situation it will have. So now coming to the energy performance policy, what is that? EPP, that is the performance policy, is nothing but the load balancing algorithm which is supported with the hardware performance state of the cores. So it is basically to help the core to focus on their performance. Now if the value of the EPP is 0, that means it will be, that particular core will be considered as a highest priority, and it will be, it is a full performance. And the another one, thread director. This is IGBT technology, Intel Thread Director technology. So that is the enhanced mechanism which helps the operating system to decide that which core is the efficient to run a particular single task. So it will talk to the OS scheduler. Before scheduling the task, it will project the hardware data that this core or this particular IP is my efficient to execute that particular task. So like that, it will, based on the power and thermal limits, it will project that data. So this is the proximity data structure. So this data structure we are proposing here. So this data structure will give you basically the distance among all the IPs. So here we can take the example that the last one, distance 03. That means this is telling the distance between that IP03 and IP20. These IPs can be your atom and the energy efficient code. These are all the energy efficient code, and that can be your performance code. So we can take the data between this performance code and this efficient code. So less the value of the distance means it is the more near to that particular IP. Means it is a adjacent. So now coming to the, there are 2 concepts basically we have proposed here. So first, both the concepts are on the relative priority of the IP. So the first idea here, which we have proposed, like there is, suppose these are the performance code. I can take this core B. So suppose the core B is running at some highest frequency or turbo frequency like that. Now core it will search what is its adjacent core. Here is core Y and core N. So I can take the example of core N. Now if the core N has the lower priority than the core B, then what we are proposing, then first reduce the frequency of the core N to the near to the base frequency, so that it will get core B to work on a full performance mode, and it is basically it will create the additional thermal headroom for the core B. Similarly, core J priority is less than the core A, then core J also has to be reduced the further more. So, but we have the here we have the minimum temperature limit, so that here we have proposed the TI minimum. So that minimum IP cross-setting temperature threshold for each and every IP has to be there. Beyond that, it will not reduce its TJ max value. TJ max value is the maximum junction temperature of a SOC. So basically, there is one now help to understand like which IP has the lowest priority. So that IP has to run its base frequency and one step above the next higher priority, then like that. So this is one concept. Another concept is just here we are telling that this is not a single reaction mechanism. This has to be some heuristic policy. So here what we are doing, suppose core B has the highest priority, core N is the lower priority. So we, instead of taking action on the core N first, we are taking the action on the core B. Like we are reducing the frequency on core B so fast so that it will cool down first. When it will cool down first, then it will come back also first in the highest frequency mode. And the slow frequency throttling will be there for the core N also. This is some standard performance calculation. I am not going to, just I can give the what we are doing here. Just we are calculating the leakage power just to extend the coverage. So we have calculated the leakage power here, that IL is the leakage current, the total leakage current is the small IL is the leakage current for individual transistor, where N is the number of transistor and R is the shutdown rate of individual transistor. So like that we got this formula. And I can explain a little bit this graph. So here we are showing that our core is we have done the experiment on the 4 cores. So suppose my operating frequency is from 400 GHz to 3.2 GHz. So suppose my processor is running at 3.2 GHz. So when it will reach that thermal threshold, it has the power consumption has to down. So means it has to throttle down to some frequency. Similarly, when it will throttle down, and the temperature will be increased, so our leakage power also after that time it will get increased. So how much value it is getting? So that we have calculated like based on our experiment that 29% increment will be in the leakage power when the core is idle, and 20% when 100% core load is there. So these are some experimental data we have given. So that coming to the conclusion. So nowadays thermal cooling solution is more crucial because nowadays we have more number of hybrid cores. I mean more than 8 cores or more than 12 cores. So nowadays it is more necessary to control the thermal solution, because the increasing in the temperature will be not only based on the, it will be basically based on the multiple things. One of the major thing will be the task, which task I am designing to run on a particular core, and apart from that there will be cooling capabilities of the SoC and the motherboard. So as the common throttling is, as per the current scenario, common throttling is applied. So our proposed solution will be 11 to 17% additional thermal headroom here. So here that IP cross-setting threshold may be exposed by the programming to the customer. They can design, they can tell like I can go up to that particular temperature, and future SoC designs also to use this library. Those are the learnings from our